Washington Democrats have never been more extreme than they are right now. 132 congressional Democrats have now signed up for Bernie Sanders' takeover of health care that would strip 180 million Americans, many of them in this room, of their private coverage. Remember President Obama? Remember? He said, you can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan 28 times. He lied. So we should impeach him. We should impeach him. We're going to impeach him. We'll do a belated impeachment. We're going to do a belated impeachment. 28 times, you can keep your doctor, right? Remember, you can keep your doctor. You can keep, unfortunately, when they found out you can't keep your doctor, he said, I was just kidding. No, we should impeach him. We'll do a belated impeachment. Fake news, you have it?
I know that we joke about Trump being unwell, but when the president is trying to have his predecessor impeached, who, to be clear, hasn't been in office for 3 years, I don't think it's fair to suggest that maybe Trump isn't well. And look, do I really think Trump wants Obama impeached? No. I mean, no. Probably not. But the more important point here is that it takes a lot of shamelessness for Trump to attack Obama on healthcare, when his DOJ is still trying to dismantle Obamacare in the courts. This coming after countless attempts to repeal it in Congress, where it failed, and to hold a referendum on it during the 2018 midterms, where it also failed. And so now, given that neither the American people nor their elected officials want to give Trump the victory over Obama that he so desperately wants, he's seeking to do it through the judicial system, which his administration has been quietly packing since day one. In case you were curious about the extent to which Trump's presidency is predicated on erasing Obama's. Consider too that Trump's argument about Medicare for all, that it would, quote, strip 180 million Americans of their private coverage, is deliberately misleading. Yes, if Medicare for all passed, Americans wouldn't have private insurance coverage because everyone would have health care. That's the point. This entire Republican argument is just an effort to manipulate people based on the way they frame it. That's like trading in your old phone for a new one, but walking around telling people that your old phone was ripped away from you. It's a matter of perspective, and the GOP is doing everything they can to manipulate yours. Trump then tries to fearmonger about the idea that you'll lose your doctor. But if the United States has a Medicare for all system, you wouldn't have to worry about your doctor being out of network because there would be no network. That is the point. Care would be accessible to everybody. And if you like your doctor, he or she isn't going to just vanish. It's just that there won't be an insurance company dictating whether or not you're able to go and see them. The point of Medicare for all would be that every single American living in the richest country in the history of the world would have access to health care and not have to rely on predatory insurance companies to do the right thing. Because guess what? They never will. And that's evidenced by the fact that the top 62 health insurance company CEOs made a combined $1.1 billion last year. That's an average of $18 million for every CEO. All while 87 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured. That's the system that Republicans are falling over themselves to protect. The right is so desperate to have you believe that single-payer or universal healthcare is some pie-in-the-sky idea, but the fact is that every other industrialized nation in the world has it. We're not trying to colonize Mars here, we're just trying to do the right thing that they've already figured out in France and Australia and Canada and the UK, Denmark, Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, Norway, the Netherlands, Japan, Finland, Spain, Italy, Iceland, Portugal, Singapore, Taiwan, and yes, while we have bigger populations in these countries, we can always split our country into regions like Canada does. It would still allow for the best negotiated rates, as opposed to each individual American going up against a profit-hungry insurance conglomerate and thinking that we're going to get a fair shake. Thinking that they're going to suddenly do the right thing, as opposed to simply try and pad their bottom line. Republicans will also try and fearmonger about the quality of care under a universal healthcare system, promising that we'll devolve into a third world country. Kind of like how they promised that the passage of Obamacare would mean death panels. And yet so weird how that's been the law of the land for a decade, and yet still not one death panel. Huh. And by the way, consider too that Americans' healthcare quality already ranks behind nearly every country with universal healthcare. The people in those countries are living longer than ever, and for the first time in history, Americans' life expectancies are falling. In other words, we're paying as much as 10 times more than other countries and have less than those countries to show for it. So let's just be honest about what it is that Republicans are trying to protect here, because it's not some crown jewel of a healthcare system. They're protecting corporate profits. They're protecting the campaign donations that those companies companies give them in exchange for raking in those profits. They're protecting their jobs, and they're doing it at the expense of Americans' health and Americans' lives.